It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. Know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 386. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe.
Hello.
Hello. So
It happened.
you did it.
I did it.
You did it.
I finished the New York City Marathon.
And I watched.
Hey, you know what? I am a slow runner. And I know, guys, I know. Like, please don't yell at me. I know that it doesn't matter to a lot of people, but it does to me.
Yeah.
That I was out there so long. But the reason I say that it matters is because if you had not been out there at mile 19 and 22, like that kept me so focused on the time. Like I was just like, okay, I only have to go X amount of blocks. I wasn't thinking about what mile I was on. That made such a huge difference. And then honestly, it didn't get hard until after mile 22. And then it's like, I was starting to slow down. Like I was starting to lose steam for sure.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, there were a lot of hills in Central Park and I was just like, and we're walking now.
Yeah.
We're walking.
And they were not hidden.
No,
They were
right out there.
They were right there in front of you.
They were.
In front of your walking.
But I had a great time. The crowds are definitely different for people who start later. I feel like everyone needs to know that if you're going to go do the New York City Marathon and you're going to finish in 7 hours, you need to know that starting at 11:30 is a very different thing than starting at 9 a.m. And I had a wonderful time. The city
There
of
are
New
still
York,
people out there.
Still people out there. And I thanked so many people for being out there in the dark because that's when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
It really, really did. But the people, like the first half of the course was really easy because there were so many people out there. The crowd really does carry you. But what a different experience for someone who's slow, because if you have people to care, if the people are what's getting you there, it's the energy of the crowd. Well, it significantly lessens the second half. Like as soon as it got dark, people disappeared.
Yeah.
Which I get. Like they've been out there for hours.
For
I
sure.
totally understand.
There's only
it.
so long it can remain interesting to watch people run by you.
Absolutely. And I don't fault the marathon setter-uppers, you know, because they did an amazing job. It is what it is. Like you can't make everything perfect for every single person who's going through it. So even though that sounds like a complaint, it's not. It's just I think people
an acknowledgement.
Yeah. Because I think people need to be aware that it is a different race. But I am definitely looking forward to breaking it down more over in the bonus episode.
Yes.
There's a lot to say and talk about.
We'll tell you what I did while you were running.
Yes. And I do want to say, though, that if anybody has like a dream of doing it like I did, don't let the fear of it hold you back because the crowds still are amazing. Even though they're lighter at the end, they're still there.
And it's probably still more than you get at regular marathons.
Any other city
marathons
would not have been as impressive or like really cheered you on. I mean, people were standing in the dark in Central Park going, you got this, you got this, you got this.
Even the muggers.
They were clapping and cheering.
They were like, I'm only going to take half your cash.
I was so disgusting. They didn't want to take anything.
I'm going to take $40 and 3 of your gel packs.
And in all seriousness, I know you're joking, obviously, but I will say the way that they have the park lit up and the entire marathon route so well marked and so well, like it was so well attended. I never worried about that, even when it did get dark. And so it felt very safe. I didn't even have to worry about like getting lost because you know me. And there have been other like Atlantic City. Yeah. There are people that went up the wrong way on that bike race and did not finish because of it. So like that's a real thing in some places. But,
for sure.
But yeah, it was the best. And if people want to do it, go do it.
Also, thank you to the people who came out for the meetup.
Oh my gosh, that was so
Copper Still.
So much fun. And thank you to Janet and Gordon for helping us get it set up at the Copper Still.
Yes, and Eileen for my monkeys button.
Yes, and everyone for coming. I talked so much to everybody that night. I couldn't be in all the places at once, and I wanted to be. Like, I wanted to simultaneously talk to every single person at the same time. It was such a fun time, and it was so just heartwarming to see people that I haven't seen in years. Some people I had never met before in real life. We even had a person who just happened to see the meetup on Facebook. Just come.
Was just like, whatever you guys are, whatever this is, guess I'll go.
He did Peloton, but he didn't know about the podcast.
Right.
He didn't know about like the community that we've all built through Peloton. He didn't know about any of that. So he just showed up, and he had such a great time talking to all of us. And I just loved it. It was great.
So what do you have in store for people this week?
Well, we are going to talk. Well, we have our guest this week is Tori Phillips. And so we are going to talk to Tori about her Peloton journey, how that's gone for her. We are also going to talk about the new CEO, Peter Stern. We're going to talk about the earnings call recap since we were unable to do that last week. We're going to talk about November being Peloton Member Month. There's also going to be an offer match guarantee for Black Friday. We've got a bunch of other things going on that we've been sent in some tips in the tip line, which we haven't mentioned in a long time.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
Also, we've got some rumors to address, and we have in the news instructors. We got to talk about lots of stuff going on for the instructors, and of course, all the content, and a couple in case you missed it this week.
Okay, well, before all that, some shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast. You can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That is super helpful and greatly appreciated. You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/theclipout. It's just a way to help out the show, help fund all the costs that go into something like this. It's $5 a month, and you get all sorts of bonus content. Every week, we record an extra episode with another 15, 20, 25 minutes of content, just topics we didn't have time to get into here. You also get ad-free episodes. If we get them early, you get them early, and our undying affection.
It's true.
So you can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group, check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/theclipout, and of course, sign up for our newsletter. You might have done a marathon, but what I did was still put out the newsletter while we were in New York City.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
we're basically the same.
Yeah, it's real close.
Yeah.
Real close.
No medal for me, though.
Yeah. I should go get my medal while I'm recording.
Just wear it.
I'm just going to wear it. Yeah. I'll when I have to answer the phone here shortly, I'll run up and get it.
But anyway, you can sign up for the newsletter at theclipout.com. So there's all of that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
At long last, Peloton has a CEO.
Yeah, just one.
Just one.
Because we've had
two, but they were interim CEOs.
Yes.
So I get this.
And we had Barry.
Yeah.
We had Barry.
But we've been CEO-less.
We have.
For, 6-8 months?
Mm-hmm.
And so the interim CEOs, I guess, get a pay cut on December 31st.
One of them stepped down. Chris Bruzzo stepped down. And,
okay.
Or maybe I got it backwards. But one of them stayed in. Karen Boone stayed in until January 1st. And Chris Bruzzo stepped down.
Gotcha.
So now there's just one kind of until January. And Peter Stern is the new CEO and president. And he is going to be taking over at the 1st of January. And that is when Karen Boone will step down. The coolest part about Peter Stern is the interesting marketing approach that Peloton is taking with Peter Stern.
Yeah.
So Peter has been a Peloton community member since 2016. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Love that. Also, they did like a whole welcome video for Peter. They showed him like buying clothes and checking out and, going to classes, which is great.
Yeah. He was in leggings.
Yeah. It's honestly, it is such the polar opposite of how Barry approached everything. That feels intentional.
It does. I feel like Foley was very warm and fuzzy.
So warm and fuzzy. God, I miss that man.
Barry was very much not warm and fuzzy.
Like curling up to a stone.
And then I think they're trying to be like, get a little bit of that back.
Well, they need it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because not only are they doing that, and I know we're going to talk about it separately, but I think that it's also intentional. Now November is this big moment where we're going to celebrate members and how long they've been there, because, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Last year, I was having conversations with people at Peloton about how to celebrate long-term members. That never came to fruition.
Yeah.
Because my contact is no longer there.
Yeah.
But at the time, Peloton was very much aware of the fact that long-term members were not feeling the love.
Yeah.
I don't think that they suddenly became unaware.
That was basically your idea, right?
I mean, I wasn't trying to take credit for it,
but like, I remember they were like, what should we be?
I had a whole list.
And you were like,
this and this.
You need to reach out to your long-term members that sang your praises at the beginning because
y'all are ignoring them.
Yeah.
And one person listened, and then that person is no longer there. But I think that they still took note of it. And
right.
I think this November thing is part of that. But what I think they're going to get wrong, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't think that they're going to focus enough on the long-term members. And here's why. The long-term members have completely turned their back on Peloton.
Yeah.
And never more have I seen that than the meetup this weekend.
Yeah.
Very apparent. But the people who have been around the longest, there are still some that hold the same love for Peloton. But a lot of them have just walked away. They're doing other things because they feel so left out in the cold.
Yeah.
They just don't care. They're disillusioned. It's a very interesting thing for Peloton to come up against in this climate,
Absolutely.
But I do genuinely wish all the luck to Peter Stern and Peloton. Peter, come on the show.
Yeah.
Let's get out there. Let's talk to the people. You need to be in front of people. You need to talk to the members, because that is what John Foley did. And it worked. It worked.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I know they won't listen, but I'm just putting it out there.
And of course, this was announced all as part of the earnings call, which happened last Thursday while we were on a plane.
Yes.
That's why it wasn't in last week's episode, because we had no way to. By the time we landed, the show was edited and done.
Yeah. It was too late to go back.
Yeah.
And our Wi-Fi at the hotel.
Oh, my God.
That was a whole separate disaster.
It was. Why not Fi?
Yeah.
It was
bad.
It was bad. I mean,
it's been a while since we've stayed at a hotel that had that bad of Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I honestly, so I recorded an episode of Real Spoilers while you were doing the marathon, and I got done with it just in time, because you know how long those episodes can be. But
yes, I do.
I switched to using my phone as a hotspot because the Wi-Fi was so bad.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
used 80% of my data for the month.
I'll tell you, it's real bad when your internet on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean can get better Wi-Fi than a hotel that's stationary in the middle of New York.
I got better Wi-Fi in high school.
Oh, now.
That's how bad the Wi-Fi was.
I call it, Tom.
Laura Ingalls Wilder had better Wi-Fi than that hotel. I stayed at an Amish bed and breakfast that had better Wi-Fi than that hotel.
You would curse too much for an Amish bed and breakfast. They would never let you stay. Plus, you wouldn't be able to do without electric. So, all right. But the earnings call. I mean, the big news, the big takeaway was Peter Stern joining Peloton. And I guess we should also mention that his background includes Apple Fitness and other large companies that he has worked for. So he's got a great background. I do hope that the energy that he brings is good and that it infects people and it brings back the energy that the OG members had, because the long-term members, that's where the community was built.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with the members who are out there now.
For sure.
I love all of the members, but the original
passion. Yeah.
Exactly. That is what made Peloton what it is today.
That was the jet fuel that launched Peloton.
It was, and I hope to see it back. So some financial highlights, though. The company did experience a net loss of only $1 million.
That's not bad.
It's really not.
For a company of this size.
You know what? It was $158 million
the
year before. So I'm sorry, it was improved by $158 million. So yeah, it's huge. And that the operating income, it went up to $13 million, and that's up $145 million from last year. So that's That's insane. Operating expenses decreased by 30%. Now, we're a little bummed about that because we know that that was a lot to do with people, and that sucks.
Right.
But I understand that it is a necessary thing. If you want to keep businesses going, then you have to make cuts. It still sucks, and I can still be sad about it. But the free cash flow did result in, they had a positive free cash flow of $11 million in the first quarter of 2025. So fiscal year 2025. Yeah. And they are, Peloton is saying that they are expecting to have positive cash flow throughout all quarters in the 2025 fiscal year. I also have to say, as a side note, but a very important one, thank you to Helper B Tina for making sure that this article got written and that somebody was listening to the earnings call.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yes.
And Helper B Lindsay for making sure we got an article out for Peter Stern joining Peloton. So thank you both for being all over it. You guys are amazing. So
you are our bees of the month.
You're the bee's knees. And then I also thought it was interesting that when we talk about profitability, they said that they are still looking to deliver additional cost savings. Like they're still on the plan that they had already announced, $200 million in cost savings by the end of fiscal year 25. They are continuing to execute the restructuring plan to improve the unit economics across products and sales channels. And that is hopefully going to bring us to profitable growth. The at-home fitness market has declined 2% in the last quarter. Gyms are back to normal following the decline caused by COVID. So another interesting thing, Peloton adjusted the recommended retail prices of Bike Plus, and Row. We've talked about that before on the podcast. They did that in all of the markets, all of the overseas markets, including North America and Germany. And then they said that combined with a shift toward higher margin revenue streams, such as Precor and bike rental products, has pushed their connected fitness gross margin up by 9.2%. That's a nice hefty little increase. For sure. They are continuing to cut marketing costs. They slash media spending by 57%, which is savings of $64 million. I know. They always go for marketing.
I always give it side eye.
I know.
When it's like sales are down, let's ask fewer people to participate.
But I will say that they have continued to say they are cutting marketing, but they are being more careful about how it's being spent. So they're being very focused and trying to get more dollars out of it, which one of the things that they're doing is also, going to the influencer market. They're trying to grow that more. We will see how that goes. As holiday season is approaching, they are going to be increasing their marketing efforts with a keen eye on profitability. They're going to be using third-party distributor in Germany, and they're going to continue to reimagine smaller store concepts, i.e. those pop-ups we've been seeing. The most recent store in Nashville apparently is going to be one of these tiny little stores, so we will see how that goes. And of course, we talked about the member appreciation events and the messages throughout the month of November to activate its loyal customer base and encourage current members to refer and engage their friends and family. Subscription growth and engagement. So the company reported 67.8% subscription gross margin. And they said that the most recent All for One event had 26,000 live workouts and 900,000 on-demand workouts in its first week. So they also said, they reminded everyone, because I already know those, they were active. They're testing new software features, Strength Plus app, which is going to be mostly in use in the gym. They're also looking at game-inspired fitness experiences. So that's all going to be targeting personalization, social interaction, and fresh workout experiences. All of them are in early test stages. Some are going to work better than others because that's just how testing works. Yeah. But 70,000 people have signed up for the Strength Plus app. It's the second, Strength is the second most used category for Peloton, and the second gaming platform on Bike Plus is being beta tested right now with 100 Bike Plus users. They have added more 75, 90, and 120-minute classes. That was all user requested, and that's nice. They're also adding new modalities of classes like walking boot camps and yoga Pilates classes. So that's all great. In other words, everything is headed in the right direction, we think, and Wall Street seemed to be pretty happy with it. Like the numbers went up. So then they went down, but they went up at first. So that's the best you can really
there's
hope
always
for.
Fluctuations.
Absolutely. So. Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, it is also Peloton Member Month.
Yep.
I would like to think that every month would be Member Month.
Dude, you'd think, but no. No. So, there are going to be special classes that they are going to have. They said gear up for annual traditions we love plus member focused programming. And so we will see what that looks like. I don't know. I mean, we don't know what that's going to look like just yet. And then there's going to be exclusive surprises, exclusive shout outs, and so much more all month long. Not to mention, they're going to be having member stories featured. So feel inspired by remarkable member journeys and triumphs. And I have never understood why they don't do more of this, because there are so many amazing people in this community. I mean,
I know we've talked to 380 of them.
Yeah,
right.
We sure have.
Yeah.
We sure have. I mean, there are just so many incredible people in this community that I'm glad. I mean, Peloton has been doing more of that the last couple of years, but definitely something that it's an endless supply. Like, there are so many amazing stories every day.
Yes.
Yeah. But that is what it's gonna look like. I don't know where they're getting the stories from. I don't know if you have to submit. I didn't read any of it. I've been a little busy.
But if there was a submission process, you would think that you, of all people, would have seen it by now.
Seen it.
Seen that there was a submission process.
I
get they're not going to have you as one of them.
I agree with that to a certain extent, but I will say, like, the last few days with traveling and everything, I was just not on my social media game.
Okay, but these people had to have been selected quite some time ago. It's not like they started this on Monday and rolled it out on Thursday.
That's true.
So, I mean, this has clearly been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
It takes a while. They got to get the pictures and the bios. I mean, that's
true.
So like there's.
Maybe they just picked people off of, like they have so many people.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Because there are so many amazing stories out
for
there.
Sure.
And they just contacted them quietly and set it up. That could be.
Yeah.
I know they've done that in the past.
They're stealing our model.
They are. Won't be the last.
No.
Certainly wasn't the first.
No.
But there's a lot of times that Peloton has actually taken that approach. I mean, I remember back in the day before COVID happened, when the treads first came out, do you remember how they had like a special delivery at, I think it was, God, I want to say it was Ellen's house. And like Maddie showed up.
Yeah.
And they filmed the whole thing. It was a whole big thing.
Yeah.
And I never understood why they didn't do more of that.
Yeah.
So
we talked a little bit last week about Black Friday, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago.
That there was a Black Friday offer, but then it didn't make any sense because it all said November 20. It's also November of 23.
Yep.
And so now we have the new real one.
We do.
And it's basically it's a price match guarantee, which because they had this issue a year or two ago where they saw sales plummet in November because everybody was like, I'm going to wait for the Black Friday deal. So they started pushing out like, hey, buy your bike with confidence or your tread or your row. And that if we have a Black Friday sale that's better than what you purchased it at, we will honor that price.
Yeah. The way that it's supposed to work is that if you see a better offer in a Peloton showroom or on a onepeloton.com bike plus tread plus row or guide now through November 11th, then Peloton will match it. Here's the thing it says does not qualify, which I think is about to answer your question.
Okay.
All Peloton purchases made via a third-party supplier, not included.
Okay, so if Amazon has a good deal,
not included.
You're SOL.
Mm-hmm. Purchases made before November 1st. Nope, don't call us asking for it because you're not going to get it.
No.
Purchases made after November 11th. Don't even try. It's not going to happen. Peloton rental purchases. We don't include it. Purchases for accessories that are a la carte independently of a bike plus tread plus row or guide, and any apparel found on apparel.onepeloton.com.
Okay. So there you go.
Yes, it is.
Peloton has been quietly doing a pace target survey, we have been told.
One of our members reached out to us and said that they had gotten an email for a survey regarding pace target classes, asking how many they had taken, what they thought about them, etc. So we are very curious to hear what they do with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know Maddie has mentioned a couple times in his classes that they are working on walking pacing classes, which will be very interesting because based on how just in the marathon that I just did, how walking is so different for people with long legs versus my little short stubby legs. So I'm very curious to see how they do this.
Also this week, the Peloton app changed the weekly streak meter to a daily streak meter.
On the app, well, I think it's on your actual machine too, but it's like, it'll say, instead of saying that's 3 weeks in a row, now it's like, that's 21 days in a row. But if you miss a day, then it will revert back to weeks.
So it doesn't zero you out on days. It just says now you're doing weeks.
Exactly. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah. I wonder what's driving that.
I don't know. I nobody seems to like it. So I mean, everybody's like, well, I want my weeks back, because it's like, it's such a big number for so many of us that it's like, that's too much.
Yeah. And
So-
I like also don't know. I mean, I know Peloton has a lot of different modalities and you can do yoga or meditation and it still counts. But it also kind of seems like, I don't know that you should be encouraging people to work out every single day.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing. I mean, there are people that really struggle to not overdo their workouts.
Right.
It can be a disorder for people. It
Yeah.
can be unhealthy. And I know Peloton would say, I don't know what Peloton would say anymore. I can't say. I know what they used to say
Right.
was that, the idea being, that you have active recovery. So like you said, meditation or yoga or stretching, you do not need to be doing a bike class every day for
Right.
3 years in a row. In fact, don't.
Yeah.
That's not good. Don't do that. But at the same time, I'll just be real honest. I don't have day streaks, and I haven't had day streaks in a long time. I take rest days.
They've also debuted a new friend check mark.
Yeah, this is really bizarre. Okay, so, and I say bizarre just because of how they did it. So like now, when you take a class, when you go to look at classes rather, you can see a listing and it shows you what your friends have taken. The reason it's bizarre to me is because it looks like you took it, because it'll show a little figure of a person and then it has a check mark and then a number.
Right.
That indicates how many of your friends have taken that class. But it looks just like the check mark that you got when you took the class.
Okay.
So like in the image we're showing here, the top one is of the friend. The bottom one shows you took it and a friend took it. They're almost identical. So like
Yeah.
if you're in a hurry,
Right.
they are not very visually distinguishable. I think they need to like highlight one or bold one, like something needs to be a little different about
Right.
it, because as you're going through it, it's going to be too easy to think you already took that class.
Yeah.
I mean, is it a big deal? No, we'll get over it. But it's just an odd thing to change. Like,
Yeah.
it's nice to see how many of your friends took it at a glance, but like, it needs to be,
More distinctive.
yes.
Is the Power Zone bar going away?
I mean, that is the question. Okay. So there have been multiple posts coming up this week where there were screenshots that had a chat with customer service. Now, how many times have those been wrong?
That is fair.
Okay. So I put no stock in that.
None.
At all. I mean, they literally said instructors have left. Like, so,
Right.
so like, we do not believe anything they say. But they said that in this customer service chat, they said that it had been confirmed that a recent update had removed the Power Zone bar for non-Power Zone classes. Okay. So you're just taking a Jen Sherman class. You're not
You're doing cover to cover.
You're not going to have a Power Zone bar.
No Power Zone bar for you.
Then there are people saying they still have it. So is it one of those things that it's like rolling out? It's going
Right.
to take a while because it's 6 million people and it takes a while to roll it out? Don't know, because I don't trust customer service. And there are Power Zone people that have confirmed non-Power Zone classes have a Power Zone bar in them, but there are people that say that they don't. So
That sounds like a rollout to me.
it does sound like a rollout. So we're putting it out there, but no confirmation. That's why we're calling it a question.
And coming up after this, we're going to tackle instructors in the news. We're going to tell you who was on Good Morning America and who's coming back to celebrate her 10-year ride. So stick around.
Instructors in the news.
Bex Gentry was on Good Morning America, or if you prefer, GMA.
She was, and she was very excited to be there, and it is a very exciting thing. She was there talking about the New York City Marathon. She also was talking about the fact that during the marathon, I don't know if we ever really got into the details of this, but she was following the pro women's field on the marathon course.
Okay.
So they're the first, like it's the pro men and then the women go out. I think might be flipped. I can't remember, but when the women go out, they have like basically what looks like a really fast little golf cart following the women.
Okay.
And then she's reporting live. So like if one runner goes in front of the other runner, like she's seeing it and reporting that as it's happening.
Okay.
So like this was a huge
It's
deal.
like live play-by-play of the marathon.
This was a huge deal because like that is the focal point of the marathon when people are watching for like the pro athlete that's going to win the marathon.
Right.
For the rest of us, we're just finishing a marathon. These people are like winning a marathon.
Right. It's an actual competition.
It
for them.
is. Yeah. It's crazy. So this was a huge deal for Bex. And of course, I don't think I made a separate line item for this. So I have to use this moment to say that Bex leaves on her big adventure in 10 days.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time this airs, that will be 7 days. She's leaving to go do the Great World Race, which will be 7 marathons on 7 different continents in 7 days. Now, we did talk to Bex a couple of times while we were in New York.
Yeah.
She's definitely nervous.
Yeah. How could you not be? Like,
how could you not be?
Obviously,
Indeed.
she's very skilled in peak physical condition. But 7 marathons in 7 days is a lot. And then you add all that travel.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what her Google pins will look like for where she's been.
It's gonna look like where's Carmen San Diego?
Yeah, Google's gonna be like, bring your phone into the store. We think something's wrong. It says you've been on 7 continents in 7 days. That can't be right.
She better have informed her credit card.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
You couldn't have possibly been in
Yes.
South Africa yesterday. And
Bex, if you're listening, don't forget to call Citibank.
And I have to also say that a bunch of Bex Beasts are going to be in Miami watching her set off for her journey in Miami.
Yeah.
And of course, when she crosses the finish line, because that's what the Bex Beasts do.
Sure.
And what a special group of people, though they
Oh,
are.
we got to hang out with them a little bit.
We did get to hang out with them a little bit. They had a meetup on Saturday. And
I
Bex-
took the group photo.
You did.
Because I was like, why would I be in a group photo? It's only appropriate that I take the picture.
And their group member Sean had set up the meetup, and a special shout out to her because she said a lot of very lovely words for everybody that was running the marathon, but she also gave a lot of inspiration and love to Bex for the journey that she's about to be on. Bex cried. We all teared up. It was a very emotional moment. Okay, not you.
I didn't tear.
The rest of us that have
But,
hearts. It was super emotional, but I'm so excited for Bex. I can't wait to see her complete this because I know she will. And it's a pretty big damn deal. So,
It is.
Yeah,
It
it's pretty
is.
cool.
Christine D'Ercole posted this week that she will be back soon for her 10-year ride.
Yes, she said that she will be back on 11/21 at 5:30 p.m. Eastern for her 10-year anniversary ride. Obviously, she had her official anniversary while she's been out because
Right.
Peloton is doing this new thing where they're gone for 12 weeks at a time or
Yeah.
whatever. And she is going to be back. So it'll be great to be able to celebrate her 10-year anniversary. And we wish her all the best.
Absolutely. We found out this week that Susie Chan will be hosting the International Running Expo.
Yeah, this is really cool. Guess what, Tom? Going to have to do some more traveling. No,
Going to sign up for another marathon
I don't know about
in
that.
Amsterdam.
But it's an expo. That could be fun.
I'm sure there's a marathon attached to it. Get all those runners in one place. They're going to do some running
That's true.
and run in.
Run in. So it's going to take place November 4th and 5th of 2025. The dates were backwards from American, so I had to.
Got to stop and think.
I did have to
Yeah,
stop and think.
They do their time in metric.
But yes, it's going to take place in Amsterdam, and how exciting for Susie. That is so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Congrats to her.
Jen Sherman was on the cover of the Torch magazine. If you are unfamiliar with that magazine, it's because you are not a member of Sigma Delta Tau sorority.
I wouldn't have known how to pronounce that.
Well, because you weren't in a Greek organization.
I was not.
I was, so I happen to know.
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, so was Jen Sherman.
Yeah, I can also say the Greek alphabet.
No.
3 times
Tom?
to a match.
We're not doing that. No. But that's really cool that she was on the
Yeah.
cover. That's fun.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's exciting. It's her organization, and she's on the cover
Yeah.
of the month, the magazine that gets sent out monthly. I'm assuming
Absolutely.
monthly.
Absolutely. And I know the community, especially within her JSS tribe, was super excited about that.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
they were all talking in the comments like, "Oh, did I get my copy? I got my copy yesterday." Like they were all excited. That's so fun.
Peloton Artist Collaborations.
The latest artist series is actually a producer series that features Mark Ronson.
It's true. It's true. So now Mark Ronson is, why don't you put it in pop culture for us?
He's the actual artist of Uptown Funk, right? Isn't
Right.
it Mark Ronson with Bruno Mars? It's not, everybody thinks of it as a Bruno Mars song, but it's technically a Mark Ronson
I think
song,
it depends
right?
on where you see it because I think it says Bruno Mars featuring Mark Ronson.
Oh, I thought
on
it was
some
the-
place. I think it depends on where you see
Oh,
it. Like,
okay.
like if you see it on a radio in your car, it
Right.
might look different than if you saw it on
the album.
yeah.
Right.
Or I was going to say MTV, but that's silly because
Yeah,
no one does
They
that.
don't show music videos anymore.
Right.
And
So
the M now stands for miscellaneous.
correct. So yeah, that's really cool. I mean, there's a lot of good hits there.
Yeah, sometimes it's those producer series I think can be fun because it's fun to just see like how many songs some of these producers end up creating and how much of that songcraft is in the producer's hands, not necessarily the artist's hands.
No, I totally agree. I think this will be a really fun one, and I'm really looking forward to it. A lot of good, fun, upbeat songs, and Lord knows we could use some fun, upbeat songs.
Yes, we could. And coming up after this, we've got a new celebrity sighting for you, and we'll talk some content, give you some suggestions for classes you should be checking out if you're looking for things to do. So stick around.
Peloton Celebrity Sightings.
So this celebrity sighting is actually a little older, but it slipped by our radar. And so a listener was kind enough to point it out to us that apparently Jeremy Camp is a big Peloton fan. Now, he's a major artist in the Christian music community.
Yeah. Yeah. Has he played at your arena?
Yes.
I thought
yes,
so.
he has a couple
I thought
times.
so.
Yeah.
And this particular member also mentioned that Kane, who's another Christian.
Yeah, they're newer. I think their first big hit was around 2020, but they're also pretty well known, although not. I don't think they're quite as big as Jeremy Camp, that's three siblings. So it's
Oh.
a family.
Oh, okay.
name,
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
And that was brought to you by Denise Schwanz.
Well, thank you, Denise. So, but yeah, Jeremy Camp's been talking about Pelotons for I think 2 or 3
Really?
years now. Yeah.
Well, and Denise was saying that these bands actually bring their Pelotons on the road.
Right.
And so I'm also curious if they have one of those custom made little cases that were going around there for a while.
Yeah, I know when we did Jeff Dunham. Now he didn't have a Peloton, but he had a treadmill. I think this was before Peloton had a treadmill, but he had like this big giant road case that his treadmill was in, and then he had his own. We took one of the locker rooms and they wheeled it in and they like unfolded it, and he had.
Well,
his
there's a guy
treadmill.
that does that for Pelotons.
Yeah,
Like
'cause I
there-
think-
we talked to
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was doing it for Neil Diamond years
yeah,
ago. Yeah.
Wow, that was years ago. But yeah, they're out there. That's really cool. But thank you, Denise, for sharing that. And that was via our tip line as well.
Okay.
And if you guys have a tip to send over to us, you can go to TCO in the Know. And there's also on our website, there's a little place that you can fill it in, whatever those tips are. And those are fun. Those are fun to read. I love getting them.
New content.
It is time for the TCO Top 5, where you tell us your favorite classes of the week, and then we say them back to you.
Sure.
Class number 1, your favorite Halloween ride.
Okay, well, this was taught by Eric Yeager on October 28th, and Sonia Norman nominated this class. She said, "This class was not just my favorite class this week, it was probably my favorite class this year.
Ooh.
Just watching Eric ride in a giant inflatable pumpkin costume is hilarious. He increases the entertainment factor by telling a story throughout the ride about being chased by Clausy the cannibal pumpkin. After being chased by Clausy for 30 minutes, I was drenched in sweat, but I was laughing so much I forgot I was working out."
Number 2, your favorite run.
Favorite run. Okay, so this was taught by Bex Gentry, and it was on 11/1, and it was a marathon race prep with Meb. So Meb joined her in class for this. Sarah Lester said it was her favorite class because it had Meb. And I don't know how to say his name correctly.
Yeah.
And I know that I should because he's a freaking legend. And we saw him at the expo.
We did.
And I was like so overcome with nerves. I couldn't even, because like I can go up to people all the time and be like, take a picture with me. And I could not do it with
Yeah.
Meb. I don't know why.
I don't know why
I was
either.
like, I can't, I don't know. But he's just such a legend. Anyway, Sarah said that even though this was called a marathon prep run, do not let that scare you off. It could easily translate into a walk, run, or a walk. And it's a great chance to run with running royalty.
Number 3, your favorite outdoor run.
All about Marathon Weekend. This was taught by Robin Arzon on November 2nd. This was the 30-minute 26.2 celebration run. It was the first outdoor run that Peloton has ever had live.
Wow.
Ever. Stephanie Latos loved this run, saying it did not disappoint. The playlist was classic Robin, but there were some really great nuggets of advice in there, and it definitely fired me up for the next marathon season. We're definitely sensing a marathon theme this week.
Nuggets. Number 4, your favorite ride.
Okay, so this was a 60-minute sweat steady ride with Jess King, and it was from October 28th. Catherine Kimes nominated this ride, aptly pointing out that it was more like swear steady. However, so right up your alley.
Yeah.
She admitted that despite how challenging this ride was, she really enjoyed it. The music in this class helps you get through the 60 minutes of challenging pedaling, featuring alternative rock and grunge songs you can sing along with as you sweat your way through the hour.
And number 5, your unstackable.
So this was a total strength 60 class that was taught by Andy Spear on November 3rd. And Elizabeth Schlossberg suggested this ride. She said, suggested this class because it is not a ride. During this class, she said Andy was in top 3 hardest TS 60 classes he's ever done. And he's done all of them. And yeah, we get it. So Elizabeth said Andy was even struggling to complete some of the reps like I've never seen him before, which I appreciated witnessing, actually. So in other words, it was such a hard class.
Even the
he was having
instructor
trouble.
struggled.
Woof.
Yeah. Woof indeed.
That's an appropriate unstackable.
And now we turn our eyes to this week at Peloton. We will start with strength and recovery for runners.
Yeah, which if you did run a marathon this weekend, and there were lots of them, not just the New York City Marathon runners, then this will be good for you. There was a 30-minute strength for runners with Matt, and that was November 3rd, and it became on demand that same day. There's also going to be a core for runners with Bex this week, and that dropped on demand the same day. So that's pretty cool. Good way to stretch out your body and, get it moving, keep it moving.
We also have a new recovery run.
We do. It was taught by Kirsten on November 4th. It was going to drop on demand. So she didn't teach this live right after the marathon, but she completed her first marathon at the New York City Marathon. That was her very first one. And so this recovery run was very appropriate to drop right after that. And yeah, nice gentle run to get the muscles moving again is perfect.
We've got not one, but 2 people celebrating 5 years with Peloton.
We sure do. Sam Yo and Hannah Frankson both mark their 5-year anniversaries this week, and they have new greatest hit collections for each of them available on demand. So you just go over to collections and they will now be there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very cool.
And we have our first ever yoga and Pilates class.
Taught by Anna Greenberg. And let me just tell you that I took this today. It dropped on demand on November 4th, and I loved it.
Did you love not doing a running thing for a change because you've been so focused on running?
I did, but it was also like a challenging class, so it was nice to be able to be challenged, but not by running.
Right. That makes perfect sense.
I will also say, as a little plug for Mariana, last week when I was in New York, I got to take a walk-run class with her Thursday night, and I also took a yoga conditioning class with her Saturday morning before the run on Sunday. And let me just say, both of those classes were wonderful, but I underestimated yoga conditioning. 2-pound weights should not do that much damage. They should not.
But you were damaged.
I was, but like in the best way. And I love Mariana. She's the best. She's just the sweetest person.
Yeah, she was very nice.
Oh my God. I love her. And Anna has always been very kind to me too. Like 2 wonderful instructors.
Yeah.
A lot of good ones.
Peloton has dropped a road to 10K. You just finished your road to 5K. Not you, because you just finished a marathon. I meant the royal you.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
But you just finished your road to 5K. Now you got yourself a road to 10K.
Yeah, it's
They're
really cool.
never happy.
But it's cool because now Peloton has programs for all major race lengths. So they've got one for 5K, 10K, half marathon, and marathon. So that's really cool. I think there's going to be a lot of people taking this. I already had a lot of people mention to me they were really excited about taking it, but it is the official off season of running for everyone that just ran marathons for the fall.
Right.
So it might be a bit
Yeah.
before we see an official review on this one.
That makes
Definitely
sense.
not from me.
And of course, not from me.
We knew that.
Yes.
We knew that.
In case you missed it.
Peloton Apparel has released a gift guide. Is this new?
Well, they come out with one every
They've
year.
done it before. Okay.
Every holiday season.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, sometime around November-ish, they usually come out with one. But they didn't do one every year, but I'd say the last 3 to 4 years,
Okay.
maybe 5,
Yeah.
because time flies weirdly since the COVID.
Yes, it does.
So, but yeah, it's been a while.
Okay. Speaking of apparel, we have a partnership with Good Park NYC.
Yeah, which I had never heard of, but apparently it's an apparel brand. And
I think they're based in New York.
you think?
Yeah, believe so.
But some of their items also ended up on the gift guide, of course, as well.
Makes sense.
It does make sense. And so if you're a fan of Good Park, then this is perfect for you.
And if you're not a fan of Good Park, well, perhaps you like Stony Clover Lane, because they just did a collection with them as well.
And I've never heard of them either.
Yeah.
But they seem to be like little bags or whatever. So they've got little pouches and
Okay.
patches.
I got a little pouch.
And these are also in the gift guide. So if you need a little pouch that you can take your accessories in, then this would be good for you. Or you need a little patch that looks like a tiny little Peloton with somebody riding it. This would be
Okay.
a good place to get that.
Okay. I've been wanting one of those.
Have you?
Yes.
You can also get a Peloton P and a heart. You can get a Peloton rower.
I got plenty of
patch
pee all on my own.
and a Peloton tread, which I got to say looks like a tread plus in this patch. And of course, the Together We Go Far. But the colors are very interesting. They're very like springy, which is weird because it's winter.
Right. And maybe by the time they ship up.
Maybe. That's a whole separate issue.
Peloton birthdays.
We got 2 birthdays this week coming up on November 9th. We have Milo Wedekind.
We do. And that's this week. Oh my gosh. Today's already the 6th.
Yes.
Holy cow. Yeah. Well, happy birthday to Mila.
Yeah.
Or Mela, however we say that.
and then on November 10th,
So that'll be Sunday.
it's Aditi Shaw.
Well, happy birthday to Aditi and Mela. Wow. We're almost at the end of the year.
I know.
I don't know how I feel about that.
And coming up after this, we got our interview of the week with Tori Phillips. So join us, won't you?
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Tori Phillips. Hey, Tori, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me.
We are so excited you are here, Tori. I always like to kind of start with finding out how Peloton came into your life. Like, how did that first happen for you?
Well, it's actually just around the 3-year anniversary of when I got my Peloton bike. It was right between October and November 21. And I was freshly postpartum. I had my daughter in August, and I needed something to help lose the baby weight, something to get going again. And my husband used to mountain bike, used to do triathlon. And he's like, if you get to Peloton, I'll ride it with you. Because I'm like, I need to justify the finance of it, you know? To this day, he's never ridden it.
A man after my own heart.
I was
picturing, when you said ride it with you, I was picturing like, do they have tandem
They do
Peloton
not.
bikes now? Is that what's
That
going
would
on?
be great.
Yeah.
Don't tempt me to tell, hey, Peloton. But he knew I'd be open to getting it if it was something that 2 of us would do together. So he manipulated me into it, which is great. So that's how I got the Peloton bike. And it's been just around 3 years.
Wow. Well, happy Peloversary, early Peloversary.
Thank you.
By the time this airs.
It'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed I have just around 2,500 miles on it.
Wow. That's great. That's great. Now, do you take any other classes on the Peloton platform, or are you like a bike only gal?
I started off solely on the bike. And then because I had a yoga background, I tried some of the yoga classes, but I'm a sucker for the strength classes. I am a straight sucker for them. I actually am finishing one program I've done 10 times this week. So, but the strength and the bike are probably my main go-tos, but I'll sprinkle in some yoga, some stretching, walking as well.
Okay. So little of everything, really. Awesome. Now, one of the things that I wanted to chat with you today about was also your weight loss journey. And I'm curious where Peloton fits in. Like, did the weight loss journey start before you got your bike? After? Like, how did this all come to be?
The bike came first on this journey because I would like to preface many moons ago, about 10 years ago, I lost 189 pounds through the gym, very toxic gym culture. So I wanted to be smart about it this time. I'm older, I'm a mother, I'm about to go through some major life-changing surgeries, whatnot. So the bike came first, and I was like, give myself 6 months. And so I solely was with the bike for 6 months. And then after that, I actually put on a little bit of weight. I started therapy and started the bariatric surgery process.
Okay, that's a big undertaking.
It is a huge undertaking. Yeah. What was like the moment? I know it's a huge decision to do bariatric surgery. Was there like a moment where it was like, okay, this is I'm definitely doing this moment?
I think it was when I weighed my heaviest, and after the 6 months of being postpartum, and I realized I was at my heaviest weight that I have record, and I was like, I can't play around anymore. I'm about to have my double mastectomy. I am a new mom. I need to get this weight off for so many multiple reasons, and I can't do it on my own this time. So I started out in February, and then 7 months later, so almost a year with the Peloton, I had the bariatric surgery.
Wow. So I'm going to ask what is probably a dumb question, but that's kind of my brand. You mentioned that you had a baby. Like, once you have a surgery like that, are you done? Or can people? I've never thought about it. Can you still have children after that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yes.
Okay.
I, to this day, with all of the procedures I have had since having my child, I can still have a child, no problem, if I wanted to.
Well, that's good.
That's a different question.
But yeah,
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never really had thought about the surgery in terms of like childbearing before, and I was just like, oh, what does that do?
It's a fair question.
To the process.
You're more high risk because you're concerned about the nutrition.
Sure.
About you, not only you, but the baby getting nutrients.
Right.
But otherwise, it's just like a normal pregnancy.
No, that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. And then you just kind of mentioned it real cash, like it was just, no big deal, double mastectomy. Was that like a cancer prevention decision? Was that something?
Yeah, like I was like, I already
totally
asked about childbearing. I'm not going to ask about her boobs. Like, we're not doing that. This is let Crystal run with that.
About one part.
Yeah, like that's.
Okay. I am BRCA1 positive, so it was a preventative surgery. My family's age of diagnosis was 38. I had the surgery at 38. I turned 39, and I'm actually still in the process of it. I have I guess you could say, my final test next month.
Okay.
So that's a process.
Yeah, it's a process because you have to let things heal before you can go in and I watch a lot of TV that shows these things, but you have to, they have to like put correct me on anything.
Expanders.
They put these little expanders in, and then you have to like size it back. You have to like let the tissue heal so that it can go back, and then it expands, and then you can put the tissu in, the little thing in.
Right.
The silicone.
That's the one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I had a Goldilocks. So it's kind of like what you said. They do the mastectomy, which is removing basically your entire chest. I had my chest amputated, just to put it out there. And then they put in tissue expanders to help reform the chest with what's left. And that should take about 3 months. And then you have your final exchange surgery, is what they call it, and they'll put in an implant. I wasn't that lucky. 2 weeks, within the first week of my surgery, I had my surgery in January in 2024. I had necrosis on my left chest.
Oh, no.
So So we're going to monitor that. Okay, fine. 2 weeks in, I develop a double infection on that same chest. So immediate surgery. They had to clear out that and replace my expanders. Okay, cool. 2 surgeries in 3 weeks. Okay, fine. So that was February. So now we get to May, and I'm supposed to be at the end part of what they call filling. They had to fill my chest every week. I'd go in, my surgeon would come with 50 cc's and pop it through my chest, and I have magnets because I have no filling. And then right at the end, he goes, "You know what? Your what side is this? My right side doesn't look right." I had to have a 3rd surgery to replace a 2nd failed implant.
Oh my God.
Standard. Yeah. And then, so that was May. And then in August, I had excess skin removal surgery. And then I had to recover from that. And now I have my final test. So I'll have 11 months in this process.
Wow.
I know it's awful. My first thought was like, oh, I'm glad you're starting in February because you're hitting your deductible for the year early. This is the sort of astute observation that husbands bring to the equation.
I will have had 5 surgeries by the end of it.
Wow.
In 1 year.
That's crazy.
Okay, and skin removal surgery, that's also not an easy surgery, right? Like, that's a whole thing, and it's really painful, isn't it?
Yes, I had 2 procedures done at the same time. I had an arm lift and a fleur-de-lis tummy tuck, which at the end, they removed 34 pounds of skin.
Whoa.
And those are no joke. Those tummy tucks are...
Yeah, I had 30 pounds from my abdomen and 2 pounds from each arm removed.
30 pounds. Nice. Wow.
Uh-huh.
That's like a child. Like, that's like a toddler.
That is my toddler.
Oh my God. Wow.
I was like, that's like 2 or 3 babies.
I mean, prior to that, I already lost 217 pounds.
Goodness.
So my body's been through a lot this year.
Yeah.
Peloton has helped me through it the entire time.
Wow.
So have you had, like, with all those surgeries, there are recovery times, like, has there been long breaks, or have you been able to still utilize Peloton while you're recovering?
I would like to say I am in my 80th week streak going on right now. The weeks that I can't work out, I would meditate.
Sure.
I would use meditation options, but they want you walking. After almost all these procedures, they want you walking. So, like, the audio was great for that. And I would just go on my walking pad and just listen to the instructors, or even just take the class and have it on my tablet. And,
or the clip out. That's fine. You can say that.
He's teasing you.
I like it. I approve.
For people not watching, she is laughing.
Yeah, she's
is.
She's a quiet laugher. It doesn't sound like she's laughing.
Yeah.
So, it's important to stay active, whether it was the meditation classes just to kind of distract me from the chaos of what was going on within my body, or finally being released and being able to walk. That was great until I was able to get back on the bike. Bike is that's my go-to.
Okay, so you had all of this going on in the last year, but you also had melanoma in the middle of all of this too. Like, if all the things you mentioned weren't enough for you,
do you have like a coupon or something? What's going on?
It's all my surgeons and everyone I encountered are like, "You are a veteran in the hospital care now." I'm like, "You have no idea." I'm actually 2 years in remission from my last diagnosis.
Congrats.
Yes,
thankfully.
Congrats.
But I have had it 4 times.
Goodness.
And my very first time was right on my face. I have a 2-inch scar. But yeah, so on top of everything, I still had to, go and get checked, see my dermatologist, pray nothing came up, and thankfully nothing did.
Wow, that is so much to take on in 1 year.
Yeah.
Like just so much. I'm curious. Now you mentioned that you take other classes on the Peloton platform. Sounds like you take a little bit of everything. But what we didn't ask is, what is your leaderboard name and how did you come up with it?
My leaderboard name is Finding Tori, all one word, and it matches my other social handles but there's a little like underscore or period in the other one. And the reason why I came up with finding Torikins is my mother called me Torikins. She passed in 2019, and that's been very hard on me. And I just really wanted to find myself.
Do you feel like you have?
On the hunt. No, if anything, right now I'm very, very lost because I've utilized my platforms, especially with Peloton, to get me through this past year, to get me through the surgeries and the ups and downs. And now I'm like past it. Now I'm like, now what do I do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. I mean, I know I've had times in my life when things have been like really crazy, and then like you kind of get to the end of that, and you're just kind of like,
Now what?
now what?
I'm exactly like, what do I share about my journey, or what do I want to do now, and this and that. So I'm still looking for finding Tori. I found her physically. Definitely. Like through Peloton, I have found that I enjoy being very active. Like I'm excited to get on the bike. I'm excited to strength train and I enjoy how it makes me feel. But now I just have to connect my body and mind to see what I can do with all of that.
Yeah. It makes sense that there would be some lag time on the mind side of things, given all of the things that you've been through too. Like your body needs to recover, but I would think that there's also some mind healing as well, and to catch up with everything.
Oh yeah, especially I learned with bariatric surgery is that everything moves quickly in either the body or the mind. So you either are going to drop a lot of weight all of a sudden out of nowhere, and then your brain has to catch up to it, or you mentally make the changes and your body's not physically responding to it. So I definitely know I still do that because I'm only 7 weeks post skin removal surgery.
Wow.
And now I am 5 weeks away from my last surgery. So I'm in the middle of these two.
Yeah.
And my body is still swollen and still healing. And I'm about to do it one more time right at the time where I will basically be fully healed.
Wow.
So I'm still kind of in limbo, but by January 2025, I should be like, next step.
Yeah. Wow.
So what is the next step?
Yeah.
What does that look
She's
like?
trying to figure it out.
Oh, sorry. Don't put pressure on me.
I would love to be able to, one, share my story because it has so many different facets, but they're all interconnected. Like, I would not be successful with my weight loss without Peloton. And Peloton would not have came into my life if I wasn't going to have a mastectomy. And so it all combines. It's just, there's so much, and then how I focus it.
Yeah.
No, that makes total sense.
It does.
So, do you have a preferred instructor?
Well, it depends. For some reason, I am the London studio strength training person.
Okay.
All my strength trainers are JJ or Ben Aldis. Those are my go-to. I specifically search them out. I do not know why. It might be the British accent.
Well, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. That's for sure.
No, it doesn't. They want to boss me around? Yes, please. But if I'm riding the bike, it's probably either Alex or Tunde. Or if I want to just be like really ratchet, it's a Jeff King.
Okay.
If only she could get an accent.
Yeah.
Then you'd be set.
Right. But Alex's hip hop classes or the club bangers,
Yeah.
they helped me through it a lot, and they still do. If I'm really struggling mentally, if I know that I just get lost in the ride, I go for a club banger.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have any advice for people just now entering the world of Peloton?
Don't be afraid to change your seat if you're starting with the bike, and start off slow. Don't be afraid to start a beginner ride. Like my first ride was 5 minutes, and I probably did that for a few weeks before I was able to start up my momentum. And mainly give yourself grace, because you're going to want to do more, and you're going to want to automatically punish yourself if you don't do that. Fight that feeling, give yourself grace, and say, hey, you did what you did, and make that into that victory. That's helps me the most.
That's
Awesome.
very good advice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And hopefully through the magic of editing, the
This will
listeners
all
and
look a
viewers
lot smoother than
won't
it felt.
realize, but you were very patient through some
Yeah.
technical difficulties. And
you.
but before we let you go, remind everybody where they can find you in all the places.
Okay, I'm on TikTok and Instagram, and it's Finding Torikins. On Instagram, it's Finding Torikins _Finding Torikins. And then at TikTok, I believe it's Finding Torikins.
Awesome.
But otherwise, type those in, you'll find me.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, and good luck on your continued health journey. It's been a lot, and so fingers crossed for you.
Yes, definitely.
Last one. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all on the leaderboard.
Yes. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next time, where can people find you?
They can find me not running outside.
Yes.
And on Facebook, you can find me at facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe, on all the other socials, and somewhere on that Peloton leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find me on Threads. How about that?
Ooh.
At Tom O'Keefe Jr. I'm a junior, don't you know?
I do.
Yeah.
I do know.
And of course, you can find the show at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, don't forget our Patreon, $5 a month, all sorts of bonus content. We like you a little extra.
We do.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go record it right
Gonna
now.
Go do it right now. So you'll have that to look forward to. So you can do all that at patreon.com/theclipout. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
And running.
and rowing.
Clip in, set yourself free.